is the North End. This is the North End.
Hey guys, JP California coming at you guys, and I know it's been a while. Hope you guys haven't forgotten about me. But today we are doing a 5 things we have learned about Aston Villa's preseason. Now, I know Villa's preseason isn't over. They still have to play Rennes in France over the weekend. But you know what? I think most of us have collected enough evidence and enough detail to get at some general understandings about what Aston Villa might look like this season. So why don't we get into it with the 5 things that we've learned from Aston Villa from their preseason tour of Australia. First things first, new players coming in hot. The quality of the new players like Diego Carlos and Boubacar Kamara is exactly the type of quality that Aston Villa need, both of which have looked very steady. Boubacar Kamara had a little bit of a hiccup against United, but in all the other games against Leeds United, he completely bossed the midfield. He really did hold it together. And Diego Carlos has just been a beast. He really does look the real deal from the get-go. He kind of reminds me of Martin Laursen. And I hope he can get 1 or 2 goals this season to show that that's kind of true. He's not huge in height-wise. He's only about 6 foot, 6'1", but he is massive. That dude is built like a boxer. And when Patrick Bamford decided he wanted to square up against him, he changed his mind real quick. Boubacar Kamara is doing exactly, wow. Big old truck drive right behind me, right in the middle of the video. Yay. Boubacar Kamara is doing exactly what I've been screaming, and many other Villa fans have been screaming about for the better part of 2 seasons now, and that is we don't have a 6. Now, Boubacar Kamara isn't really the destroyer, I'm going to foul people, I'm going to win everything in the air. He's more of the sneaky, I'm going to let you take a first touch, and I'm going to take it from you and then distribute it. He's going to keep it. He's almost like if you put Jack Grealish and made him a holding mid. He's just better. His touches are great. He understands spatial awareness better than anybody. And his continuing usage to keep the ball moving, to keep it ticking, is exactly what Villa need to keep control of games better. On top of these new players coming in good, you have a player like Leon Bailey, who honestly only started about 7 or 8 games last year and is coming back from many injuries last season, and he looks a new animal. I believe he has 2 goals and 2 assists in 4 games. Now, that's not uprooting the earth or anything like that, but it is a much better output than players like Traore or El Ghazi, and I feel he just has that turn of pace that neither of those players really have. It's going to be really interesting to see what Steven Gerrard does with Leon Bailey, Oli Watkins, Philip Coutinho, and Danny Ings to make them all kind of gel. Which brings us on to the next point. Point number 2, formations. It's very clear that when Steven Gerrard came in, he had a set formation he wanted. He wanted a 4-3-2-1, where you had 2 10s behind the striker. And he's pretty much ditched that. It's now gone into the formation we saw at the end of the season of a 4-4-2 with a diamond in the middle, or, and we've been seeing this a lot over the summer season, a 4-2-3-1. With Boubacar Kamara, players like John McGinn, Morgan Sanson, Douglas Luiz, you can put those players next to a Boubacar Kamara and have a very solid 4-2-3-1, where Boubacar is the passer and the other player is kind of a dribbler, shark-type player who roams a little bit. And then you could have someone like Philip Coutinho, Emi Buendia, or Jacob Ramsey in front of them. I would not be surprised if throughout this season, or even in the beginning of the first 5 games, you see both the 4-4-2 and the 4-2-3-1 to help them overcome the different formations, styles, and players in other teams. I'm really looking forward to having multiple systems to use and different players to suit those systems. So hopefully Villa's now finally getting to the point where they have enough options and depth to allow them to overcome stingy opponents. Number 3, and this one I've used a few times, Steven Gerrard's comments. It's not uncommon for Steven Gerrard to be very frank with the media. And I like it. I really do. I think he, kind of similar to Dean Smith at the beginning, anyways, says a lot about the honesty of what he wants to say and uses this as a means to reach across to his teammates. Or I shouldn't say teammates anymore, I should say players. He's said multiple times now that he's going to cut dead wood, and it seems like he's doing so. There's a vast majority of players who didn't get a lot of game time. Players like Frederick Gilbert, Traore, Sanson got a little bit more than some of the others. Davis was injured, but it's very clear he's not up to the scruff, and it doesn't look like he's going to be getting some of that game time. And some of the youth players like Ben Christie, those guys just don't seem to be cutting it, and Steven Gerrard has let it be known that he is looking to offload those players. So I expect the next 6 weeks of the transfer window to be pretty much just about that. Except one thing. Steven Gerrard has mentioned multiple times that he is still looking to strengthen the midfield. With Boubacar Kamara as kind of a designated number 6, I see this not as a 10 position, because we have Emi Buendia and Philip Coutinho for those roles. I see this as him looking for a number 8. A solid number 8, a top level number 8, a 30 to 45 million pound number 8. So it'll be interesting who they see in that role. Maybe a Sangari, sorry for the pronunciation, from PSV. There was some rumors of a Kondrek Lamar from Red Bulls, but we'll see. We'll see who it is. One thing can be certain is I don't think you're going to see a smaller character. I think it's going to be a bigger-bodied, physical type center mid who can also help Boubacar Kamara kind of control the midfield when you have players like Jacob Ramsey and John McGinn on the pitch. Number 4, the strong youth push. Man, there were some great young players this summer season. Players that we've known about, but we haven't really seen them in an extended period. Players like Caden Kessler-Hayes, Cameron Archer, and Tim Irabunam. And it looks like all 3 of those are going to be sticking around for the foreseeable future. All 3 of them are very viable options off the bench or in case of an injury. Caden Kessler-Hayes has really impressed me and other fellow pundits, as well as podcasters, this summer. He looks really sharp. He got 2 assists. He is lightning fast into attack, and he seems to have a really calm head in defense. So I know Villa have Matty Cash, who is really highly valued among EPL teams, but don't sleep on Caden Kessler-Hayes, because I think he is going to get 5 or 6 starts this season, and I think he's going to do very well with them. Cameron Archer is going to get game time, mostly probably off the bench, but I could see him getting 5 goals this season as a backup third-string striker. He did get a few this preseason, and it's going to be very interesting to see how much game time he gets. But with 5 subs, I expect him to be able to get 20 minutes a game on average. And then Tim Irabunam, another holding mid coming in. While we already have Kamara and Nakamba, I could see Tim getting more time ahead of Nakamba because of his passing range. He's also a little bit bigger than the other 2. And I really like the idea of bringing him in the last 10 minutes when we have a 1-up lead and having him just sit in front of the back 4 and see it out. This giving Kamara a little bit more of a license to step if need be and approach players as they are coming into attack. And Tim just sitting there, clean up the damage, a big body in the way, an ability to head the ball out. I just see him as someone who can really help Villa see out games. So those 3 made a really big push, but some of them didn't. Aaron Ramsey just isn't quite ready. He is the younger brother of Jacob Ramsey, and while he is supposed to have a lot of talent, he just doesn't quite look the size. I think a good loan spell out to a championship team would do him wonders. And then there is the highly talked about Carney Chukwuemeka. Now, he didn't get invited to go on the trip. Steven Gerrard pretty much stated that Tim has had a very decent contract. Carney has had a very good, decent contract in front of him for some time and won't sign. It looks like Villa are looking to offload the highly touted 18-year-old who had 3 goals and 3 assists in the U18 European Championships for England's win this summer. I believe he could go for 10 to 12 million at this age. Maybe a little bit more. There's rumors that Villa want 20 million for him. I don't know if that's going to happen. That looks a little over the top. But with teams like Barcelona, who are broke, and AC Milan, who are not broke, looking after him, I could see him being sold fairly quickly in the summer to make room. I think the sale of him and either a Traore or a Sanson would mean more funds for a number 8. I just don't see Villa looking to deal with him at this point. There are other players in the youth system, and this isn't a failure of the youth system. They've made a very good young prospect who apparently at 18 years old thinks he deserves more time in a system where he would get time. Maybe he thinks he's going to get more time at Barcelona, which is just a load of tosh. But either way, he needs to be sold. Which brings us on to number 5. New captain role. It was yesterday dropped that Steven Gerrard has decided to remove Tyrone Mings as captain and promote John McGinn, the meatball, the rear-ended bubbling buffoon sometimes, John McGinn. Now, if you've watched my 5 things, you would say I have something out against John McGinn, and I don't. I think he's a stellar player. I think on his day, he alone can run a midfield. He has the ability to be a Conte-like player, but it really doesn't happen near enough, and his passing range is really not that great. His passing statistics were fairly low in the last 6 months of the season, and he always seems to have one of those times where he turns to make a pass and shanks it out of bounds. Where some people, cough, Luke from the North End, seem to think Mings has all the mistakes. I think for someone like John McGinn, he has plenty of mistakes in him as well. So while I'm okay with removing Mings because he had honestly a very subpar summer preseason tour in Australia and really kind of looks off the pace of it, I'm not sure John McGinn was the right pick. Now, there's a lot of fans on Twitter and the social media bashing or just completely agreeing, and I'm not in either of those camps. I'm on the let's wait and see. But John McGinn has captained the team 2 other times before, and both of those resulted in a loss. I like a captain who commands his team to step up. The thing is, during a game, John McGinn doesn't seem to be that commanding type. He seems the guy that walks the walk, but doesn't always talk the talk. And he's kind of a goofball in the back room. So we'll see how John McGinn turns out to be. Maybe this is just the thing he needs to step up and to be that next level John McGinn that we all know as Villa fans he can be. Hopefully it is. In the meantime, I really enjoyed Tyrone Mings' post afterwards where he basically said he's willing to follow John McGinn because he loves the club, he loves John McGinn like a brother, and this is just a step that happens in football. I thought it was a really classy move and one that just does away with any kind of back talk of, oh, Tyrone Mings isn't going to like this, he's going to want to transfer. It had nothing to do with that. It just shows that he knows what's going on, he's been included, and he is all up for the change. He's okay with it. I hope that Tyrone Mings can come out of this looking like roses and playing better. Because I think Tyrone Mings, Diego Carlos, and Callum Chambers are the real deal of center backs. Konza had a very rough season last year, and I just don't know if he's had one good season or one bad season. I don't really know what he has, and he's coming back from a pretty serious injury. Tyrone Mings, on the other hand, can be an absolute tank in defense. He can be that center back with Diego Carlos, or so could Callum Chambers, who has played insanely well. I would not be surprised if any of those 3 were the 2 in the 2-man starting center back system for Villa on the first day in 2 weeks. So, those are my 5 things that we've seen. 1, new players quality. 2 different formations that we look like we can use definitely. 3, Steven Gerrard's very open and blatant comments Number 4, youth prospects galore. And number 5, a new captain for the new season for the Steven Gerrard era. You know what they say, up the Villa. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Follow the North End. Give us a shout. Give us some comments. Come at me or agree with me. Either one's fine with me. Anyways, this is JP, California, from a beautiful, sunny Southern California, heading out. Have a good one, guys.
This is the North End.